Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be teaching you all how to tape together a PDF pattern printed at home. But before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about the different types of patterns. So there are commercial patterns that you can buy either online or in person in stores such as Joann, Hobby Lobby, or even smaller shops that sell them. I know here Melanated Fabrics sells a wide variety of patterns as well as fabric. These are some of the pattern brands that are in store: Nomi Pattern, McCall, Simplicity. So when you buy a commercial pattern, it comes like this, usually on some form of tissue paper, and it includes a size range. You can find the size range on the envelope for what will be inside. So this particular pattern is sizes 10 through 18. Then there are PDF patterns. Those are usually pattern makers who are individuals or just smaller companies, and those can be found online. There are a plethora of indie patterns, that's another name for them, indie pattern designers that sell online. Now, most of them these days, you can get a copy shop version where you can send that off to be printed at Office Depot, Office Max, or even PDF Plotting. That is who I typically use because I'm not a huge fan of piecing together patterns when it's a larger pattern. Okay, so here's an example of that. This is the Lola tank, and I also did the Lola tank dress. This is the full piece for the dress. All right, and I didn't have to do any taping together. I just printed it out, and all I had to do was figure out what size was my size, and I usually highlight the size to make sure I'm cutting on the correct lines, and then I just cut my size out. And then there's what we're doing today. So those same PDF patterns, you can get the letter size version where you print at home and tape it together to make the larger piece to cut out. And so today we will be using Vicky Sew's Tammy shorts. This is a version that's already been put together by me, taped together and cut out. So today I will teach you how to line up your pieces, to tape them together, and then cut out. And for this particular pattern that we're putting together today, the Vicky Sew's Tammy shorts, Vicky Sew's patterns come in just one size. When you buy them, you buy one size at a time. So when I tape this together, there's only one size, unlike other PDF patterns that might come with the full range of sizes, and you cut your size out. Let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to go over the items that you'll need for today's tutorial. Okay, so for today's tutorial, I'm using Vicky Sew's Tammy shorts. Now, I do want to say that you can use whatever PDF pattern you might be trying to put together. Sometimes there's slight variations between PDF patterns. However, when you purchase one, it'll show you a layout, and I'll put that up for this particular pattern, a layout of how the pieces should be aligned. And that is something that you should definitely take a look at before you get started for whatever pattern you're putting together. So you'll need, of course, your pattern printed out on letter size, scissors, and tape. Now, a quick tip before we get started: when you go to print your pattern, there is always a test square. This particular square is 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. I always print just the first page and have my ruler handy so that I can measure this test square to make sure that it is the correct dimensions. Because if the test square is not 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters when you measure it, that means you're printing out your pattern in the wrong dimensions. So it doesn't make sense to print the whole thing and then have a pattern that is not going to be the proper size for your garment. The finished product will look like this. We will have one pocket piece, one waistband piece, and we will have our front and back legs. So this pattern is 4 simple pattern pieces. I also chose this pattern because there are only 8 pages to put this pattern together. I have my tape and my scissors. I'm just going to put them over to the side for now. The first thing I want to do is separate my pattern by the labeling that you see here. A1, this is A2, And you can see that right at the bottom of the page. A1, A2. All right. This is A3, and this one is A4. So there's just the A's, A1 through 4. We have B, 1, 2, 3, 4. First you have A1. With A1, you're going to line up A2. And then off screen, there's A3 and 4. In order to line up the first two pages, you're going to trim only one page. So I'm going to trim this section of A2 and then align A1 and 2. So with my scissors, I'm being very careful to cut right next to the line. You can use a paper cutter for this, a rotary cutter, whatever your preference may be. Now you can see there's words that are aligning, the lines, the Vicky So label. So once you get that all lined up and you're satisfied, you're going to go ahead and tape it in place. The words look like they're lined up perfectly. Tammy size, height, waistband. I'm going to put my first piece of tape right here in the middle. And I like to put tape all the way down the page so that there's tape across the pieces because I'll be cutting out these pattern pieces. And so I don't want to not have a piece of tape here and then the piece is kind of flapping. And perfect. We have A1, A2. Moving on. I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see better. So we have A2. And right next to A2 will be A3. And you can already see how the pattern pieces make sense and how they'll line up once we trim this side. Again, line it up, and once you're satisfied, we'll tape it down. Sometimes patterns have different markings like triangles or certain things on each page so that when you align, it makes the shape. But for this particular pattern, it's just, you might see some words going across or just the lines of the pattern piece. There are no symbols to line up. All right, I'm satisfied. I see the word fold line coming together perfectly right there. And I'm going to put my tape. As I said, I like to cover all of it where there's a pattern piece. So here we go. And this is the start of our waistband, and these are the starts of our leg pieces. All right, so after page 3, we have A3 right here. We are going to attach A4, and now you kind of see the pocket piece being formed and more of a leg piece. Just going to trim this one side like we did previously for A2 and 3. You'll take that, line it up. Once it looks good, grab your tape. I don't know, put the tape on top, not a good idea. All right, grab your tape and secure it in place. That is it for the A pages. So we have A1, A2, A3, and A4. We're going to go ahead and move along to the B pages. So I'm going to turn this back this way. Again, A1, and we're going to grab B1. B1 is going to go this way. So the labels stay facing the same way, A1, B1. Now we're going to trim this side and we will continue to build. This is your front piece for the shorts. Lining it up. Once you have it perfectly aligned, I see this eye forming nicely for Vicky Sells. I'm gonna throw a piece of tape right there. Uh-oh. And then tape across this pattern piece. Perfect. All right, so we have A1, B1. And we're going to move along to B2. Now we are going to be lining up two sides, so we're going to be trimming two sides. To get B2 onto B1, we're going to trim this side. And to get B2 onto A2, we're going to trim this side. And then it will line up. Again, line it up, tape it down. Once I'm satisfied, I will add the tape. There we go. Like all my lines are aligned. All right, all the way across and all the way down. And we have fully formed the front leg of our shorts. All right, I'm gonna kind of spin this so it's still all in the screen. We're gonna add B3 and B4 and we will be done. This is a quick one. So B3 will go here. So we will have to trim the left side and the bottom where the label is. All right, we're gonna add this right here. Once it's lined up, grab your tape, secure it in place. All right, looks good. All right, a little more tape right here. Last but not least, B4. In this corner, same thing. We're going to trim left side and the bottom where the label is. Line it up, grab your tape. Perfectly done. All right, and there we have it. We have our back leg, front leg, pocket piece, and waistband. And all it took was 8 pages to get this full pattern put together in this particular size. I know that this particular pattern is only one size, so you don't really need to mark out your size. However, just to make sure that you cut on the right lines, you can use a Crayola marker to outline your pattern piece and then cut if that would help. For example, I will go ahead and do the pocket piece because it's the smallest piece. Let's get the pocket piece. So if you wanted to make sure that you're cutting the correct lines, you can just go ahead and trace out real quick the piece. And if you were cutting a pattern with multiple sizes, you can do this to make sure that you're cutting out the correct size. Okay, and then go ahead and cut out your pattern pieces. And for cutting out your pieces, whether you highlight with a marker or not, you're just going to go ahead and cut out your pattern pieces. And there we have it, all of our pattern pieces cut out. For the shorts, this is your front leg piece, and this marking right here shows you how the pocket will be attached to the shorts once you cut it out in fabric. And there are notches at the top, so you want to make sure you transfer all these markings. You don't have to transfer this line if you don't want to. I have made the shorts and it is not necessary. However, you do want to make sure you mark your notches so that when you go to line up the pocket piece to the main front piece, it lines up perfectly. This right here tells you how many pieces to cut. I do like to highlight that so I know how many pieces I'm going to need to cut for a particular pattern. So cut 2, and I like to know that this is the front. I want to easily be able to identify that this is the front and how many I need. Then we have our waistband. I know that this is an important marking that I'll need. This marking shows where I'll be placing the buttonhole for the shorts. Again, this is your green line arrow for the direction. And one thing I would want to note on this piece is that this is the center front and I'm cutting on the fold. So this part of the fabric, this part of the pattern should be lined up against the fold of the fabric. Then we have, this lets me know where my side seams are. So I need to make sure I transfer these notches to be able to line up my side seams. And again, I'm cutting 1 on the fold, and this is my waistband piece. That is what I would want to know from that. This is the pocket. I will need to cut interfacing for this portion of the pattern piece. They want me to interface right here. And then I know that this is the patch pocket and I'll need to cut 2. Last but not least, we have the back leg and I'll need to cut 2. The only thing for me is we use inches in the United States for measurement, so I'm used to everything being in inches, and Vicky Sews does it in centimeters. All right, guys, so that is it. I hope that was helpful for you. Like I said, you can use this tutorial for any PDF pattern. It does not have to be the Tammy shorts. Make sure you stay tuned because I'm actually making a 2-piece set using the Tammy shorts and the Veronica top, also by Vicky Sews. For more content like this, be sure to subscribe. If you haven't already, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.